Black revolutionaries, distillery owners, Italian fashion retailers, and Motown Grammy winners all share their best stories never before told in any other media outlets on Detroit is Different. Visit DetroitisDifferent.com or download the Detroit is Different app on Apple's App Store or Google's Play Store.
All right, back in full effect. We are in the Detroit is Different podcast studios.
Yes, sir.
And it is December, getting colder, but just because it's getting colder don't necessarily mean we not still rolling in Detroit style. Right now I got somebody, if you know me, you may definitely identify me more as a hip-hop artist. And every hip-hop artist needs a DJ. This is my DJ, Drummer B. How you feeling?
All is well. How about you, my G?
Everything's cool, man. Everything's cool. So these Detroit is Different discussions usually start off where I kind of take people back to the start of their Detroit story. Mm-hmm. How did your family end up moving to Detroit?
They end up moving to Detroit through, on my mother's side, through my great-grandmother.
Okay.
And my great-grandfather.
So they've been here some generations then.
From the 50s. Mm-hmm. I know that for sure.
What, do you know what neighborhood they stayed in when they moved here?
Yes. Vermont and McGraw. So, like, Zone 8.
Okay. So, that whole Zone 8 area, as we know, Northwestern's neighborhood, you know, real close to, it's not by the number streets, it's not across the bridge, it's not 12th Street, but it is adjacent to 12th Street and all of that. What was that neighborhood? Why do you think they chose that neighborhood?
That's a good question. Considering, like, how it didn't change so much since I've seen it in my lifetime. The stories I hear, how it was back then, how flourishing it was and vibrant, like neighborhood-wise and businesses. You know, maybe it was a good environment and it was affordable at the time. I'm going to have to find out exactly why, but that's probably what I
All right, think. What about your dad's side?
On my dad's side, my family was from Mississippi.
Okay.
From there, I just found my dad, believe it or not, last year. Wow. I didn't know him all my life, and I just found this out. So I just figured out that I came from Mississippi, and my grandfather came here in the 30s. So I'm just learning more on that side, too.
Okay. All right. What was it like meeting your dad for the first time, grown as ever?
Well, I didn't meet him in person. I met him over the phone. And it was crazy because all the similarities that we had and things in common that, you know, I just been doing all my life, or that's just been a part of me. It was somehow like a little connection there, even to my siblings, you know. Found out I got like 9 siblings too, man. It's crazy.
All in the Detroit area or Mississippi?
Detroit, Texas, Illinois. Yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so as this continues, we talk about your dad. Your mom was somebody I knew, and your mom passed, sort of like my mom. Your mom passed before my mom, but she was very, very instrumental in your life.
Yes.
And a creative in her own right on multiple levels.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that relationship with your mom, as I just mentioned you're a DJ, but music was something your mom pushed you into. How did that get going?
Believe it or not, my first DJ gig, she hired me for because she worked as a coordinator for First Congregational Church for almost like 10 years, a nice period of time. And she gave me my first gig for $75 on Angels Night, which used to be Devil's Night. And that motivated me right there, just as a DJ. Like, you know, I can get paid for this. I could do it. Also, musically, she gave me that space, you know, where I could zone out. I was able to go into the old records she had and my grandmother had that she gave to my mom. My mom kept them up. And once I got interested into the music, she let me go ahead and go through those records and let me be curious and all of that. When it was time to get the equipment, you know, I'm like, Mom, I want to get this MPC. And she like, boy, you ain't even got no car yet. You know, to get an MPC, them boys was like $1,200. You know, I'm like 14, 15. But she was just like, you know, you work up for it. You work, do your chores, and I did all type of odd jobs, and eventually I got there. You know, so she was just always instrumental in pushing me, but she wanted to make sure I earned it. You know, think like that.
And the MPC, for anybody listening, and I own one as well. If you created hip hop, I would say in the 90s to mid 2000s, you probably definitely own one of these machines. And you've probably seen these machines. So it's a machine with 16 gray buttons usually.
Yeah.
And it has like a tan color.
Uh-huh.
And it is the sample based machine for all hip hop artists.
Man.
That machine. Before the MPC, a lot of people use the SSL. That means they like a real old school cat and use it.
The SP12.
Yep. But the MPC was a fixture in everybody's studio that we saw as children, from DJ Premier to Dr. Dre to
Manny Fresh.
Yes.
That was my man at
Stevie
the time.
J, the Hitman. I mean, Stevie J probably less known for production now, but
yeah.
Pharrell,
Neptunes, yes, all of those guys. When I used to look in the source and you look in the studio, you always seen that MPC. You like, dog, what is that? That must be it, you know.
And the unique thing about an MPC is it actually comes with maybe about 10 sounds that are horrible.
Yes. See, yes. That was the thing. See, that's the whole little generational gap, because you didn't come with no sound kit. You had to make your sounds. I used to sample other people's drums and have to cut them up and make my own bank of kicks. Then I have to go and find my own claps, my own ticks, you know, like all of that. And then I was using floppy disks. So to save a beat, one beat would like be 9 discs sometimes. And if you don't load it
in the correct order, then it would sound like
it
would sound very strange. But this was production, and you picked all of this up at the age of 14.
Yep, right around, because I was in band. I grew up actually drawing first, but the music came at interest, and I just went heavy. You know?
This is pre-YouTube too, so
the
tutorials of learning this, usually you had to find somebody that knew how to use one and get them to come over to your house.
Yep, or be around or something. You know, you got a cousin or a homie. It was a homie in the neighborhood who had one, because at the time, like, friends of mine was doing like credit card scams, and they was buying jerseys and all of this crap. I'm like, dog, why ain't none of y'all trying to get no equipment? You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to get them to get equipment. And my homie was like, man, I keep seeing you trying to get that. You know, such and such got one. Finally found out, like, it was one in the neighborhood, and the homie Kenny Mack was older than me at the time, and they was the older guys. So my mom was like, you know, you ain't about to be hanging with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, But I'm like, Ma, he got the MP. You gonna pay that $1,200? What you gonna do? So I would have to work all week doing chores and, you know, cleaning the house, watching my siblings. And like on Saturday, she'd be like, I'll let you go for 2 hours over there. You know, so in that 2 hours, I'm in there like trying to learn everything as best as I can, and then I only got an hour to actually play. So that was the thing. Like, I didn't have no YouTube to go back. I had to remember what he told me. He would get mad if he had to repeat himself, because he wanted to go back and finish playing the game, playing live. So after he showed me, he'd be like, that's it. I had to remember that shit and keep it going, man. It was some good time.
That's as you talk about the journey, and I can relate, because just as a hip hop artist, that's the journey of a hip hopper. Like, a teenager in the basement of somebody that's probably selling weed. Yep. Easy. And they bringing their girlfriends over. They could care less about you working on music, but that's what you had to do when you didn't have equipment.
Yeah, everybody was in the room playing the game, and I was in the other room trying to make beats. Also, because I was shy too. Like, I didn't want nobody hearing what I was doing or nothing. That was that first phase too, you know. It's funny just thinking about all of that now.
So you go back to your learning through Kenny Mack, who's in your neighborhood, and your neighborhood is kind of connected to me, as I'm the president of Northwestern Alumni, and that's Northwestern's neighborhood. So some of them people like Flight and Flat and Brown was even over there and Antuele. It's a lot of cats that kind of interconnected through those neighborhoods.
Well, on that, I moved to the Cass Corridor, 92. You know, around that time, man. I went to Edmondson Elementary, then I went to UPS Middle School, then I went to Northern High School. So that neighborhood, the Calumets, those townhouses, that's where I was staying, and that's where I ended up meeting Kenny Mack. So you know, you had like the Calumets, you had Freedom Place, you had the Brewsters, Research, like that's all my neighborhood at that time, and that's where I was growing up with those guys.
Yeah, the Freedoms, the Jeffries. We're talking about public housing of Detroit.
That's right, right in the center.
Back in the day. You said Northern.
Yeah, I ended up going to Northern, and my mom ended up taking me from that area because my friends at the time, I was getting a lot of trouble with just in elementary, and that's what was so special because she seen it then. Like in 5th grade, right before I went to middle school, instead of going to Pelham, she like, no, you about to go to UPS.
And that's where I was going to say, why did you end up not going to Murray Wright?
That's why, because my friends, and you know, it's so funny because my 2 best friends in 5th grade at that time, one is dead and the other one was in jail for a long time. So, you know, I just be thinking about that. Like, my mama seen something and she like, I'm going to just take you away. And I'm glad because that's where I was able to grow that interest into my music and all of that.
So what was Northern like when you were going there? Murray and Northern are high schools that are now closed, but what was Northern like when you went there?
Northern, it was cool. You know, it seemed like all schools, they all are, it's a lot of bad schools in the city, but, you know, before you go to them, you always just hear all the worst of the worst of it. You be like, man, you don't want to go to Northern. You know, it be going down, or you go to Murray. So I was already like, man, I'm about to go to Northern. But, you know, it is what it is. But once I got there, it was cool. I did swimming. I had Votech, so I was only there half of the time anyway.
What Votech?
I went to Brightoff, and I did that for 3 years, so I was able to graduate early. Because, you know, when you go to Votech, you get, like, 3 credits at a time, you know. So doing that 10th, 11th, and 12th, I was able to leave. But Northern was cool, though. Like, I made a lot of good people, a lot of good friends. Some of my friends from middle school and elementary, people from the North End, you know, good experience.
Yeah, because it's a staple in the North End. And what vocation did you take up at Bright Hop?
Manufacturing technology. I was doing CAD work. We was doing CNC work, robotics. It was crazy. I went hard in that for a minute, too. And it was a lot of opportunities. Lawrence Tech for college. I could have went that route with it, but it was just I didn't really want to go that route. Yeah, I didn't want to go that route. I looked at it like career-wise, like the money was good, but I just didn't really want to go.
So after high school, where were you at?
I went to Baker College for a year for marketing, left there, and ended up going to Specs Howard for broadcasting and TV. And Specs was cool. Did that for like 2 semesters, but they got it to where they had this thing to, if you had below a C, and if you fail any classes once, you get on this academic probation where you have to start all over and you have to wait till the next semester to start if it's a seat available. So once I failed through my broadcast writing, and they were like, you got to wait these semesters, I didn't go back. But what was good, just the experience I was interning Channel 2, interned at the radio stations, just learning the technical sides. That part of it, especially on the television end of it, it was cool. And one thing they used to say is the people you meet here, you'll always go meet later in life somewhere in the industry. One of y'all going to help each other. And, man, they weren't lying. I do be seeing people from that class all the time doing different stuff.
Okay. So from there, where do you start making your progressions as an artist, or is this all happening simultaneously?
Yep. So I was leaving, getting ready to graduate high school, making my music, and when I went to college, I was kind of mad because I didn't have my own equipment yet. I knew I was leaving from the studio, so I kind of took a pause on it. Once I came back home from school, I got back to making music. My whole goal was just trying to get an MPC, and that's when I linked up with my cousin, Firstborn, because like right during college and kind of the end of high school, I was periodically going to like some of the open mics at Alvin's because I was still kind of too young, couldn't really come out yet, and he was always just telling me about stuff at the studio he was doing. So I ended up buying my first MPC from him. I saved up my $400 and I brought it from him. Screen broken on.
So when you talk about Firstborn is an MC, promoter, and a networker. He connects people to different things. Mm-hmm. Your cousin is somebody that always is in the mix of ideas, projects, and different programming happening around hip hop.
Yeah. Yes.
And this was your family, like,
yeah.
And you always knew he was like in hip hop and doing these things.
Well, he's not my family by blood. My grandmother and his mother, they grew up with each other.
Uh-huh.
My older cousins and him, like, they've been with each other since kids, going to high school. So I always knew him as my big cousin because he's always been around.
Okay.
So not by blood, but family connected for sure in the neighborhoods. And growing up, a lot of my family was into music, especially in the hip hop. But first, he was the one who just went a little further, and he was always involved industry-wise in some type of way. He'd be telling me stories like he with Keith Murray, or he's here in Cali out at the studio and doing stuff with Proof. And I just be like, man, like, it's so close. Like, I like to get there, or like, I just want y'all to hear these beats, you know? So that was my like introduction also to the Detroit scene and all of that, because I wasn't even aware, because, I'm sure like you too, as a kid in high school, you just off of the mainstream music, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was Bad Boy at the time and all of that. Being around Cuz, that's how I learned about the scene. Like, damn, like, Detroit got some stuff going on, J Dilla. We got this whole hip hop scene. I started veering off, and it's like, okay, started getting deep.
So that veering off and getting deep, did you just end up working with your cousin often? Did you get him some beats? What was the next step? What move were you making?
The next step was building my studio. I was still with my mom's in the basement. So once I got my drum machine, I got my mic, got my receiver and all that. So I was able to go like full production in my own crib now. And like making tapes and CDs. Because the whole thing at that time, you had to always have a CD ready, because you never know where you will be. It ain't like how you could play it off your phone or something, You had to always have a CD ready. So that's what was my thing at home doing, and just trying to be around, so that opportunity, when it presents itself, like, oh, I got my CD right here.
So what was that first big opportunity?
We did this, Proof had a promotional show, I think with Remy, and it was in Milwaukee. It was a battle, and that was also like my first time going on the road to do something, and it was cool. Take that back. Wait, I'm sorry, I got lost in it.
Okay.
The question.
So your first big opportunity,
okay,
you on the road, Milwaukee.
Right, yep. We was in Milwaukee. Everything was cool. I was excited about the whole experience. Then after the show, we went to a studio session, and they was trying to pick beats. And then he was like, "Who got some beats?" And I was like, "I got my CD." He was like, "Drum, you got some beats?" Put the CD in. It was like the third track. He liked it. Then they started writing to it. It was him. It was my man's from Milwaukee, and my homeboy from IMAC. What's the name from Hash? My man's Hash. Sorry, Hash. What's up, G? Hash, the dude from Milwaukee, and Proof. That was that big opportunity, and it was dope. I got it too. Still got that track.
Okay, so they dropped the track, and this is like straight tracking, because I know you didn't track it out or nothing like that.
It was 2-track. Man,
Yep.
To this day, I'll be like, man, if I had that tracked out, I would have had the drums on there. Yeah, but it was 2-track. But it still came out pretty decent, though.
And for the people listening, like when you do music, tracked out is definitely something producers really care about, because that means you can turn down drums or turn up horns or turn off strings in certain sections and stuff. Usually rappers, in the classic rap scenario, rappers are like, I'll rap over anything.
And see, that was the evolution from when I left from my homeboy room to having my own stuff and you being around other people, because when you trying to sell beats, that's when you learn. They be like, so you got it tracked out? And you be like, tracked out? Well, I can't buy it from you if I can't EQ it.
Yep.
And that's when I learned, like, oh man, like I got to start saving my beats right. I got to spend some more money and get me a better drive. And I got to put more time into saving my sounds individually when I'm making my beat and not just putting it all together. So that changed me too. Just learning that, like, to get more professional, because I wanted to start making money.
Mm-hmm. So from that beat to Proof, what happened next?
So this is still during the Iron Fist time. During that time, he was putting together that hand-to-hand mixtape too. And he was planning to do a tour. And at this time, I'm still just being an engineer, the DJ for the whole label for Iron Fist, just as far as for Wolfpack, Super MC, and for Purple Gang.
And Iron Fist is the record label connected with Proof, Deshaun Porter, rest in peace. And Proof is a lot of, we'd say, like the mayor of Detroit when it comes to Detroit hip hop. He was someone that connected with, like, as you say, like the black backpack rappers and the party rappers, the trap rappers, the gangster rap. Like Proof was a gateway for that, as he hosted almost every open mic you could think of for Detroit rap.
Yeah, because open mics weren't really no thing yet. Like it wasn't no worldwide thing like that or nothing. That was just something we was doing here.
And the world kind of knows Proof is the guy that's Eminem's best friend. Now, I mean, that's, I think, how most people package him. But Detroit definitely looks at him a lot different. And really, even in Detroit hip-hop, it was Proof's validation of Eminem that gave Eminem access to Detroit hip-hop more so than anything else.
Very true. I also look at Proof. He was hope and inspiration for people, because you was seeing, that's what he was for me. This was somebody I see on MTV, music videos, awards. Then I see him right here in front of me. He giving me a chance just like anybody else, you know? So it's like, it make you feel like, man, like I can do this too. It ain't, this person just like me.
And all those personalities, when you think about Iron Fist, you got the Purple Gang, you got, which we definitely know that Firstborn is a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
You also had Super MC.
Yep.
You also had Versus. You also had the Wolfpack too.
Yep.
And you were the official DJ of everybody?
It started off, with first being my cousin. He like, you should be the DJ for Purple Gang. So that's how it started off, just the DJ for Purple Gang. But once we was doing shows, and when we would do shows, it'd be the whole label, and Proof would be the main person and ending the show. So once the Purple Gang can do their stuff, I leave. The other people didn't have DJs. Proof had DJ Jules, and it was like, just ain't make no sense. I started just staying in for their sets, doing their cues and all that. And then eventually, I guess Proof was paying attention, so they would have these meetings every week at the label. And when I used to be there, they wouldn't invite me or nothing because I wasn't part of the label. Then one day, it was like, we want you to come to the meet and drum. I came over there, and they did a vote. Proof was like, if y'all want drum to be the DJ for the label, y'all let's do a raising hands, and that's what he did. And that's how I officially became the DJ for everybody.
Okay, now, for people that don't know, when you think DJ, you think the person that's playing records at the party. But a performance DJ, working with you and working with DJ Los especially too, is accenting the music a lot and almost like a percussive musician. Like adding sound effects and stopping and responding to where the rapper's at. Yeah. Explain a little bit about how you learned to become a performance DJ and what that art form is.
Sure, I would say just from watching like DJ Jules when he was doing it with Proof, and being around the open mic scene at the time, because I was just very observative, kind of quiet, and I was watching how people would do their sets. When they going in and out with the beat, doing cuts or backing them up, like that feel good, and you see how the crowd react to it, and you just pick up on things like, okay, that's what I need to do. And like just even watching Proof as far as MCing, you pick up on things like, okay, type of things I need to take when I approach it, So just watching, that's how I kind of pick those things up.
So as you talk about the watching and picking those things up, how did you go about applying a lot of your style as a performance DJ?
Really just, I guess you could say, with my personality, the way I was cutting, the way I was interacting with the crowd, like not too much, but you could feel my presence with the beat. That's the whole point, because just like with any person in a band that got an instrument, they get their solos, and everybody got to shine to a degree. Not necessarily be seen, but you got to be able to feel them in the performance. So I wanted to be felt in the performance, whether, like I said, I'm hitting the cues, I'm cutting, stuff like that. And I don't think a lot of people at the time, they weren't really doing that.
Yeah,
it wasn't that present in the scene at the time.
And I love sports analogies. It's like an offensive lineman. You're not paying attention to the offensive line when everything's going good. You don't even know why when you see certain rappers with that right DJ, like how much that DJ adds to a rap performance, but it can if it's the right DJ.
Yes. Oh yeah. DJ Premier, man. As a producer and just as a DJ. I love watching him. Performance DJ wise, my favorite, Kid Capri. Oh my God.
Okay.
That was my inspiration. The Bad Boy concert. Just watching how fast he cut. That's that stuff right there.
Okay. So as this goes, Iron Fist definitely has the biggest shakeup ever. Proof's murder. And where are you at from there?
From that point, because I felt like I knew what was gonna happen, because we kind of had plans for certain things as far as just evolving the equipment. Like as far as DJ wise, we was gonna get some more DJ equipment. We had projects that we was gonna work on, so I kind of was like, dang, kind of like we got to start all over. But at the same time, I just looked at it just like an opportunity, I don't know, just to go hard, I guess, because it was so many mixed emotions at the time. We was sad, kind of didn't know where to go. But I feel like with everybody, that music, just making music at the time was all you could do. And I think from that point, I realized, like, okay, I just got to go hard. I need to start my label. I need to find a way to identify myself, try to utilize some of these connections and these people I've met. And that whole workforce that Proof had. I would watch him at night, man. He would just work all night, have a thought and complete it, right then and there. Like, I want to take all of that stuff moving forward and apply it to what was to come,
And this is around the time we start working together and crossing paths.
Exactly.
And I introduced you to most of my network. I introduced you to almost everybody I know.
Yeah.
Playing with live bands, just, a lot of the stuff that I was doing and my approach to it.
We did that.
We did a project in honor of like some of Barack Obama's first messages.
Yes.
We did a mixtape because a lot of people kind of didn't connect to what he was working on. So we did that mixtape.
And that was before he was president, right?
And
that was during the election.
That was during the election time. So, and this was like early on. So this may have been 2007 when we did that project, because a lot of people were like, who this dude? And I was like, okay, I read The Audacity of Hope and I got some quotes and we can mix this stuff together and we can deliver this message and package it.
Yeah.
And that project did pretty well.
Yeah. That was fun too. I was putting them cuts together with the messages. That was cool, man. And I always like a challenge. Like I like you came with the theme and it was like, okay. Yeah, all right, let's do it.
And from that project, and I may just be looking at it from my lens, that also opened you up to when we were working at the 1440, because I kind of look at your music career in those sections of like, okay, Iron Fist, and then like the drum set studio, then like the 1440.
Definitely, yes.
So explain what's going on then and connecting there, as even to this day we drive down that street, Service Street, or right across the street from Eastern Market. In a lot of ways, we ushered in a lot of those people now that are there just through throwing a lot of parties.
Come on, man. Goodness. So true. Yes. At that time, because it was you, it was Spina, Nadir, somebody else there
it
too.
It was like Dave.
All original Service Streets.
Yep. Yep.
And me and you was meeting a lot, and we was doing a project, and you was telling me like I started going there to just work like on my own sometimes, just to get out.
Because I was like, you can come use my studio if you wanted to.
Exactly. So I started using it more and more, and then you was like, man, you might as well just go on and rent the room and go ahead and just stay there too. So that's what happened. I ended up taking the whole room, and I was doing my recording there. And what happened, my lights had got cut off at my apartment. So I was there all the time, and I used to try to get there. I used to try to go there after everybody was gone, like once they there and everybody was gone. So I think he realized like I was there sleeping all the time. He's like, man, like, what's up? I'm like, well, yeah, I'm here officially, Kari said.
Yep.
And, so that's what happened. And Nadir, he started, I don't know what he was doing before, but he wasn't there a lot, because he had his own thing. He was working, married. He would come, but it just wasn't as much as I was coming. And also at that time, Nick Notion, we was kind of doing a lot of the live from the drum set taping. And, that's my homie. He's just been hanging since then. And Nadir was saying he needed someone to do some video work for him. So Nick was looking for a place to stay. He was like, offer him the room upstairs. And that's how Nick got in there. So me and Nick was there. He running videos upstairs. I'm running rehearsal. I'm running studio time. And then we started doing parties. And then eventually Nadir was like, first he went up on that rent. And then he like, cause y'all boys here all the time. And then it got to the point where he was like, y'all might as well just go on and take over this, cause I'm not even here like that. You got your own thing going. And that's what ended up happening. That ended up becoming the 1440, our spot, and we had everybody coming through there recording and doing parties with.
And even next door, where I have my booth and I ran the booth up over in the other room, but you kept it in the same room too.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of things that could be done there. You could rehearse, you could do a show.
Yeah, movie nights, dirties.
Yeah,
all of those.
It was definitely an eventful. It was an eventful location. So as you were getting into the flow of that and just kind of connecting with musicians outside of just the hip hop scene, because that's where I was always connecting you to. One of the number one people, our neighbors on Service Street, I introduced you to, is who you work with a lot now, and that's Derrick May. And Derrick May, shout out to D. That's my homie for forever. All the time, he's always been supportive. But I introduced you to D.
Yes. That was and it was crazy because I remember when we first went up there, and man, just seeing all the turntables and all the plaques and the equipment and the records, it was just like, dang.
Yeah, like
it was amazing.
Like Derrick don't even give a damn about them platinum plaques. It's like they leaning on the wall.
He's like, oh, that's nothing,
Yeah, like it's like junk mail, like the grocery store, like the grocery store thing that go out. It's like I'm not even hanging that shit up.
Man, that was very inspiring though, I will say, at that time. But you would never see him though, because he's always out of town. You just kind of see him passing and going through the years, always.
Yep. And most of the times when I was recording a project, he started just bouncing in as we were working. I was working with Ian on that Notes of an Artist Activist project, and he would just bounce in all the time. And then Derrick would give his notes in his Derrick way. And, he'd be like, man, you got to do this. And then you'd be like, all right, D. Real cool and everything. And then swing back.
Yeah. In and out.
So from the 1440, what's next in your musical journey?
From that point, well, at that point, too, because, I still had the drum set. Out of 1440, I was living at the drum set, and we was doing the shows. That's also when me and Speed, we got real cool, because he lived in the Cash Corridor, too. And I found out, because I was a big fan of Speed, still is my big bro. He had an article in the newspaper, and me and my boy was looking, and we was like, yo, that's that building on such and such street. So when I realized he was in the neighborhood, I was like, man, I gotta find Speed. And he did a show, Northern Lights, with Majestic and Elzai. I ran into him. I'm like, yo, bro, let's link up. I live in the same neighborhood. And that's how me and Speed linked up. And it was good with Speed being around as a producer, because I would go over his house. Man, he would play some beats for me. And I'd just be like, damn. Like, I gotta go home and get on my shit. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. Like, he'd come to my house and hear something. He'd be like, damn, Trump. Yeah. Like, yo, so, like, that little period was real cool. Real good time. And right then, that's when he started working with Brown. So this is, you asked what happened after that. Yeah. This is how, I met Brown and the Bruisers. So, he was working with Speed, doing the hot soup, and Speed was coming over every week. I was hearing them sessions.
It was coming together.
Yeah.
And B-Mo would be around all the time too.
Yes.
And rest in peace, Kwame, because Kwame would be around too.
Oh yeah, Kwame, man. Yeah, those days, that was cool. Cause like I said, he would bring this stuff and we'd listen. And like listening in, you just knew, like, man, Brown's special. Like, it's something different. Like, yeah, this gonna blow. I never heard, anybody like that. Like, you just hear something like, man, this is something special about it. And Speed will bring over a new track every week, and then he put it together. And I met Brown and like the whole crew, and we was all hanging out around that time. Just big fam. So that's when I got introduced to Dope Head. So during these 1440 days, we recording Plaid Palm Trees. That's Dope Head's second album. I was recording features for Brown. like a lot of the features he was doing for different artists. I recorded Thanks Dilla at the 1440. Yeah, that's that time period from like 2009
So probably like about, I say
to
like 12, 13.
Yeah, 12, 13.
Yeah, and then you actually went on the road with Brown too.
Yup, we did a few shows, going to like South by Southwest.
And when we say Brown, Danny Brown, just one of the most charismatic hip hop artists ever, but definitely a staple for Detroit hip hop.
Yeah,
And his own unique flow.
man, and I was there, man. In the front seat. He always was breaking barriers, and he was taking the path that other people weren't taking, even when other people didn't even see it. Like you gotta respect his grind, because he grinded, he worked for his. You know what I'm saying? I got nothing but respect for Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Like he cold with it.
True. So after your time with Brown, what's happening next?
So like I said, we recording our songs with the Bruisers, doing stuff with Mike Luke. I'm still making beats, experimenting, but more tailored to the Bruiser stuff, And this is when my mom got sick. She had ended up having a stroke, 2014. So from that point, I just kind of stepped away, because it was like right in the beginning of the year, 2014, ending out of 13. I moved home. I moved at my mom's house, so I was staying in my apartment, staying with my mom's, and kind of taking care of her. And I stepped away from the music for a minute, And it's funny, because as much as I'm involved in it, like I didn't have the spirit for it, or like I don't know, it just wasn't there.
At that point in time, you didn't have the motivation.
Yeah, no motivation. I was just really just trying to be there for my mom. And then I also started working with 1X Run at that time, which was good too, considering, like I said, how I kind of stepped back, because it helped me financially, be able to still maintain myself while taking care of my mom. And once again, that was that was something from the whole Service Street, being at the 1440, hooking up with them, with them moving there, So that's another one of the fruits. But that's what happened during that time. Just stepped back, and when she passed, that was I went through a whole nother year of like just grieving and time to myself, trying to get my life right. And after the second year, when her birthday passed, I was just like, I'm about to go hard. I'm about to put this behind me. And that's when I did the People Mover project. People Mover is that was like a compilation showing where I'm about to go, because it had a mix of like the new stuff I was working on, kind of like techno-ish, ghetto tech.
And that's really kind of where you were really hitting that spin towards dance music from like hip hop, straight hip hop.
Yeah, I was playing with it anyway, kind of like during
you were going there,
the Bruiser time, but like I said, I wasn't focusing it like that. And then taking the break, I just left it alone. So when I was like coming back, I gotta like hone my sound and brand my sound, and just try to come different. So that's what it was. And I wanted to focus more on the music. Like I've been working with rappers through open mic. My house has been a studio for over 10 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
I've worked with some of everybody coming up.
Yep.
And I felt like, this time I just want to focus on drummer B and making sure, because a lot of times I would get lost, and it's cool, but it felt like a lot of times, like I said, my name or like the music get lost within the artist. Yeah. So I want to make sure this time coming out.
Well, that, and when you're running a studio as an engineer and you're still an independent artist or producer yourself, sometimes you're taking in so much energy.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sounding
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I know I'm sounding real hippie-ish right here, but
No, it's so true.
you're taking in so much energy that you're no longer like in your own creative process. So you're listening to this rapper, like for instance, rap about their favorite car, and you're listening and you're thinking like, damn, I think he should do this or he should do that, or she should do this or she should do that, and that's going to impact and influence, or it possibly could. I know it, with me, I think it did. What my next recording would be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm not thinking to myself, what do I want to do, as much as it's like, let me do a better version of, or let me bring to life some of the things that they didn't see in this picture.
Or like just draining the energy because, I'm ready to do my session too. You know what I'm saying? And I got to spend my time. I done drained myself doing take after take, having to keep going back and punch in. Yeah. And it's like, man, you know what? I'll do mine tomorrow. You know?
I got a phone call the other day about a kid that wants to be a producer too. And that's the other thing. It's kind of, you like Kenny Mack in the sense of, especially with rap, because theoretically it's some rappers that are amazing at rapping, but then they get in the booth, like recording
is a totally different,
another art form.
Yes,
and it's some great rappers that like in a freestyle and a cypher on the street, you're like, man, that guy's talented.
Yes.
But then you get the beat and it's like, okay.
Because they ain't used to not hearing themselves on the mic and all that. And that stuff messes with you unless you train.
Timing. Nipsey Hussle talked a little bit about that, and even Jay-Z with Reasonable Doubt. Like, some rappers just rap through it. Mm-hmm. But Reasonable Doubt is a classic example of a project where it's just the rappers just... Bodie James has, like, some of his early works is just like...
Hey, Danny Brown.
Brown, too. Like, no structure, no bar format, no... so when you're the producer or engineer, you're sometimes piecing that together. Mm-hmm. If you've seen that Straight Outta Compton movie where they was just like, all right, easy, just say a line, stop.
Yeah.
Say the next line, stop.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, why can't you just
rap it? Ain't that simple for everybody. It's as much as it seemed like it, but it don't be like that. You get in front of that mic and it be a whole nother story, man. And Lord.
It can be times...
I'll be nodding off.
Where you sometimes see a rapper try to redo a verse, or because they can't get it right, I don't know, for an hour and a half.
Easy, no,
like
that's
16 lines, just can't get it. Or the oh man, you were right. Your studio was right dab in the middle of everybody not wanting to be Jay-Z. Like, I don't write rhymes, which was the worst.
Everybody want to be punched in too, man. Don't know how to keep up with the beat. And punch in with it, like, it was a lot of work. Them, that's some draining stuff, but it was cool. I learned a lot from them experience.
It paid for what I definitely know. It kept me afloat at a certain age. Like I say, when I was running my studio, probably like 19 to 23, 24. Like, shout out to all them people that helped me.
Yeah,
and I used to look at you. Because you were around that age, and I was like, boy, more power to you. Because some of these dudes just don't even have their shit.
Anybody who know, if you was in Midtown, anybody who been around in that area, everybody in recorded at my house, man. Everybody, man. Goodness. Yep. I didn't have no time. That's why now, man, I appreciate my time, man.
When you actually work on your own craft.
Oh, my God. It's totally different.
So from the People Mover project, what happens next?
So from there, I'm like, I want to DJ overseas, I'm like, I like to DJ overseas. How do you do that? And one of the things, if you just not a super popular DJ, you got to at least have like a project. You need an album. You know what I'm saying? And not just anything. You need a vinyl. Mm-hmm. You need a vinyl to get in the game.
And then also around this time, your partner, which I was shocked out my mind when it charted too, because I met Speed through you, and he been one of my closest homies since too. Just great energy and everything. Speed's vinyl charted.
Yeah, yep. Oh yeah, for sure. Sure did with
we was shocked out our mind, like, damn.
Mahogany Music, Moody Man, and like certain people, they have a platform. As soon as they stuff come out, like people they buying it off rip. And that's the point you want to get yourself. That didn't come overnight. Like, that's years of putting out material, taking chances, your own money, and putting out good music to where people trust it, and they like, they buying it. So Speed was able to get that. He was fortunate to get that, and yeah, we was happy, and that was inspiration. Like, dog, like I need to get vinyl out. And like I said, I want to go overseas and to DJ. So that was one of the first things one of my OGs told me. Get that vinyl out. That's like your business card, really.
And what did you do to go about for that?
In the beginning, you got the big brothers down at UR. You got
Underground Resistance, Kern, Mad Mike.
Yep. It was Korn and Mike and YG, but Korn specifically. I was going to him, just like, man, could y'all put out my album? And he was like, man, it's not that simple.
Yeah. That sounds like what Korn would say.
We started laughing like, it's not that simple. We got other releases and, you got to pay for this and you got to. And I was like, man, like, even though like I come and bring him the music, like, but ain't the music dope? Like, that's fine. The music is good, but, you got this process you got to go through. Mm-hmm. So, he was just encouraging me like, you should do it on your own, find a way to get the record done. And then, then come back. I'll help you with some resources. So when he said that, I was like, I got to find a way to do this myself. So from that point, I was working at 1X Run still. And 1X Run, they work with artists from all over the world. They do murals in the market. It's been 5 years now, bringing artists from everywhere, and each print or each artist, they will have a budget, to get the job done for the printing or for the artist's cost or whatever. And I was thinking like, if I could get 1X Run to put out my project, like a art project, I'm gonna present that to him. So I was able to present to 1X Run my idea as a project, and I was able to get funding through them. We also made 50 limited edition ones that was hand painted by Ron Zacharin. So that's when you see my cover, that spaceman in the suit. That's an actual canvas painting, And if you go to 1X Run right now, you can get the print. You can get the vinyl, or you can get the hand embellished ones. So that's how I sold it. I sold it as a print, but the budget was enough for me to get my whole thing printed up. I was able to get my whole album printed up, and that's how I did it independently. So when I came back to Korn, it's like, yo, you got it all done. Like, I'm like, it'll be here in a few weeks. This the album, this the masters. So he just started giving me game, him and Mike, just telling me routes I should go and, telling me how they did it. And, it was just encouraging being around them dudes and just getting that advice. So that's where I went. Once I released it myself, just started selling it, getting it to the retailers, doing my own information, getting the log of all the retailers in the city, using the relationships I done built over the years, and selling them boys just hand to hand.
Mm-hmm. And what connects you with Derrick at that point?
So when I did that People Mover, also, well, let me take it back to 1X Run. We were having a block party for the Murals in the Market, and I was the DJ for it, and the block party is on Service Street. I didn't know when I was DJing that Derrick was there, Carl Craig was there. Mm-hmm. I was DJing for a few hours, and then he came up to me and was like, yo, man, I've been listening. I like what you're doing. Keep doing your thing. I'm going to be checking out for you. Mm-hmm. The next day, I seen him come on the block. I ran to him and gave him one of my People Mover CDs. He took that CD. I didn't hear from him for months or see him. Mm-hmm. Hit me up like a couple days before Christmas, like, yo, man, I've been listening to the CD. Man, let's do something next year. Let's talk about a project or anything. Mm-hmm. And that was the reintroduction. At that point, Space Bounce was already being manufactured. I was waiting to pick it up from Archer. So that next year, I was able to take him Space Bounce, and he was like, even before that, sorry, before I got it all the way manufactured, Jonathan Taylor, JT, the Griot, he stays on Service Street too.
Yeah.
And one day, we were up there listening to music, and Derrick came up there. I was actually playing the Test Preston, and I didn't know Derrick that good, but we was letting the record play, and he started asking about the music, and the comment that he made ended up being the liner notes on the back of my album. JT wrote it out because I wanted that whole jazz feel, and JT being the griot who he is, it was only right. So yeah, that's how Space Bounce. That's how he got his liner notes on there, and that's how that whole timing kind of collided with us meeting too.
And then from there, working together. When did you all start working together?
It was literally like right after that, after Space Bounce was done. Once I realized that we was gonna move forward on doing the project, I started working on tracks. I had just got my MPC live. So, during that time, back on the producer side of things, now let's take it back to where you got the MPC guys and then you got the Fruity Loops, the Reason guys. I was kind of stuck in this period of like, I'm not giving them my MPC, but I am not about to get on this laptop because it's not the same feel. Kaya came out with that MPC Studio, that live, to where they can incorporate the software.
Yeah.
With the MPC, and it could be standalone now. So I got that live, and it just took the game to the next level. And that's when I made the Diamond Project. And I called it the Diamond Project because, like a diamond is made through pressure, time, heat, and like I felt like that kind of signified my career. Just over the time, being able to withstand the pressure of, the different elements that it came. And I felt like this is the time to shine like a diamond. So that's why I called that project Diamonds, because now I'm about to bring it out on the world platform and shine like I need to be.
Okay. All right. So where you at with it now? What's next? What you working on?
The Diamond Project was broken up into two. So next year, 2020, Diamond Project EP2 will be coming out. Also, I'll be releasing a live vinyl for my first live show I did in Amsterdam this year. And another album called Movement that I'm going to release independently. So 3 releases, 2 from Soul Touch, 1 Transmat, and also more shows, more touring for next year. First time was in Europe was, just a few months ago. And it's been a problem just trying to get into that market because they don't understand, the angle I'm coming from with me being like hip hop.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly techno or house. So it took a minute. But now, once I went over there, they know what's going on, can be perceived, and they know what's up. So next year is looking good. That's why I'm ready to get this album out and, get this show. And that's another thing. Like, I had to change my show. I'm now performing live. I'm not even DJing. Like, so when I'm here, when I do my stuff here, I'm DJing. But when I go and perform anywhere else, I'm doing a live set where I got my MPC live. I got me a 16-track board. I got me an effects board. I got my vocal box. And I'm playing the whole 90 minutes, hour and 20 minutes. Playing the beat live, breaking it down.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things Derrick was telling me. He was like, I don't want you to concentrate on that DJing. Like, concentrate on being a performance artist, because that's another thing. Like, people don't realize you get to a certain level And even when you get to a certain level overseas, you know, you can get caught in the DJ loop. It's levels of that, you know, that we look at from here like it's good. But, you know, once you get to a certain level, it's like, man, you know, I'm stuck here.
Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to broaden myself by being a performance artist, and not just a DJ. It's different, you know, and I like it because ain't nobody else doing it like that. So, you know, it also brings a different niche. So, like I said, Derrick pushed me to go like that, like just to go live, and that was something I didn't even know I had in me. But it's like opened up a whole nother animal, and I'm just ready to go hard with it next year.
Okay. All right. So we're going to come to an end of this. I'm going to hit you with classic Detroiters Different questions. And thank you so much for the interview. Classic question 1. What was your very first car? Year, make, and model. What year did you get it?
Corsica, 11th grade. I think it was blue.
Uh-huh.
I think it was like a 92 or something. And I had to put the fender on that boy myself.
Okay.
I had to earn it.
How, where was the first place you went when you got it?
To the Dollar Show, Universal Mall.
The Dollar Show. Universal Mall. That's a real movie theater now. That's where we saw Us.
I was a geek.
MJR.
Yeah.
Yeah, you was rolling the dice going that far. You must have been on a date or something.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you was rolling the dice going that far.
You know, as soon as you get you a car, you ready to go on that date the next day.
All right. DJing at the end of the Detroit fireworks, you get to play 3 songs. What 3 songs you playing? And you at Woodward and Jefferson.
I'm going to play.
Okay.
I roll with my niggas, get high with my niggas.
Okay, so you going to play Street Lords.
I'm going to play Street Lords. Then I'm going to play Charivari.
Okay.
And then I'm going to play Time Travel, my song.
And the last question, if you could rename Woodward after one Detroiter, who would it be and why?
Rename Woodward. I will rename it with, dang, that's a good one. He already got a street, but I would say Barry Gordy.
Okay. I got you.
Barry Gordy, because as he made that pipeline, Woodward's like a pipeline. Everything connect to.
I'm with it. Well, thank you so much. We're going to have more to go. And we're going to keep this in the mix.
Yes, sir.
All right, peace.
Peace.